The scariest thing about existence is the fact that we didn't choose to be here. We exist, but we didn't choose to exist. That is scary. Because that means that we can find ourselves in a world that's much worse than this world. And it's not going to matter that we didn't choose to be in that world. The fact that people don't feel like it's scary that we didn't choose to be here, and we go through things that we don't want to go through. And we're supposed to think that it's okay. The fact that people think that, that's really scary. Like, you can't be honest about how you feel. You can't say, hey, I do understand that we value what we call a positive mindset in this realm, but I don't know if I'm having a positive experience. I do want to pretend as if I believe I'm having a positive experience, but I know I've seen too much already. That it actually feels as if I'm lying to myself when I say that I'm having a positive experience. It doesn't feel like I'm having a positive experience. I'm not weak. I'm as strong as they come. But when I think as honestly as possible, it's hard for me to think that I am having a positive experience. I do understand that it is taboo in this room to say, hey, I don't think this realm is good. I don't think, we're here for a good reason. I know it's taboo to say that. You're supposed to say, God is good, the universe is working in our favor. But the thing is, the evidence proves otherwise. That's the problem. Yes, we are told that we must look at the world a certain way, but when we try to be as honest as possible with ourselves, looking at the world the way that we are being told we must look at the world doesn't make sense. See the problem? So we exist, but we didn't choose to exist. And some people may say, I don't know, you actually did choose to be here. You actually did choose to be here, you just forgot. And be like, it's only philosophy that can get us to the truth. Because no one is telling us anything, so we have to try to think as rationally as possible. If you chose that you're going to be a cat in your next life, right? You're given, let's say maybe you die and the gods that are controlling everything here ask you, hey, you're going back, what do you want to be? You thought deeply about it and you said, okay, I want to be a cat, because cats seem selfish, and if you are really, really kind, you might end up suffering a lot. I've seen dogs suffer because maybe they were abandoned by their owner. Yeah, that sucks. Like I've seen dogs like cry because they were abandoned by their owner. I've seen dogs cry when their owner died. You know what I mean? They can be emotional. But cats, especially the cats where I live, because cats are different, they don't give a shit, bruh. They don't give a shit. They just wanna eat. That's it. They only wanna eat. That's the only reason why you're important to them. Is that you give them food. That's it. They don't care about you. You could disappear for 10 years. They not gonna even think about you. So you're like, hey, I wanna be born as a cat. If you come back as a cat, that cat didn't choose to be born. That's what you must understand. Because it doesn't remember choosing to be born. Its life started when he was born, when he started experiencing life in this realm. So it didn't choose to be here. It's not the cat that chose to be born. You see? It's like a new kind of consciousness. No, consciousness is nothing but memories, knowledge, feelings. If you feel. So if we can remove your memories and your feelings, so you no longer feel the way that you used to feel, will make you feel different, because cats do not feel the way that humans feel. Then you become something new. That thing that you become didn't choose to become itself. That's the problem. See, when you think about it as deeply as possible, you realize that it's impossible for anyone who doesn't know what the heck is going on to have chosen to be here. Because you are a new kind of consciousness. That would be like if a highly advanced robot found a way to make copies of itself. These copies didn't choose to be created. They are new. So no one chose to be here. And that is really scary, because that means that we could find ourselves in a realm that we didn't ask to be in, and being told that everything that is happening is good. And when we say, hey, we don't think what's happening is good, we will be treated as if there's something wrong with us. That's scary. There's some conversations we're not even supposed to have as a collective. Conversations about euthanasia. It's crazy that we feel like we shouldn't have this kind of conversations. These are really important conversations, because some people do choose to end things on their own no matter what we do. And we are not doing enough as a collective to prevent that from happening. A person would unalive themselves, and people complain online, hey, this person is weak. Hey, why did they not ask for help? Hey, but do we help when people ask for help? And no one cares, bruh. You could go through the worst in life and no one cares until you're gone. I remember Notorious B.I.G. said something like, you're nobody until someone kills you. It's like, yeah, that's when people start talking. Yeah, this person, I met them on this day and they helped me in this way and that way. Oh, this person paid for this, blah, 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 blah. Yo, this person used to text me and say this and that. They made me feel good. Yeah. but we don't help people. People do cry for help, and people that we think are depressed are people who see things more realistic. That's what I've realized. I've listened to a lot of people who are believed to be depressed. I've watched posts. I've watched people post something online, and people say they are depressed, but I'll be like, this is the realest shit I've ever seen. Like, someone can write a post on Facebook, and you find that it's the realest shit that you've ever read, and people be like, oh, depression is this and that. Hey, like, but this person is really being honest here. So why is it that the people that we believe are depressed, the people that we think are sick, are actually people who are actually telling us the truth? And this is what's actually making me watch movies a little differently now. You know, when we were growing up, we used to side with the heroes, right? You watch Batman, like, yeah, Batman, yeah, you be rooting for Batman. But then as you become more conscious and you start to listen to the villain side of the story, you're like, huh? Because we are being programmed to view things in a way that is not very truthful, right? So a hero is someone who's privileged, who is happy, who's experienced life in a way that's good. So they want to protect something because they benefit from it. It's like if you watch a movie about like a cop, maybe that person became a cop because their father was a cop. It was easy for them to become a cop. And then there's these criminals who had a hard life and who are trying to just make a living. They're not necessarily doing something horrible, but that cop is gonna be a hero for getting rid of these criminals without trying to see things from their perspective. You see, that's one of the biggest problems, is that we don't try to see things from each other's perspectives as people. You look at a person doing something that is wrong. We don't try to figure out, hey, how does this person grow up? Is this person desperate? How are they experiencing life? So you end up realizing that villains are just, people who are not lucky, and heroes are the ones who are lucky. You see, that's it. Like it ends up being about luck than truth. And I've given you a very simple example from the movie Kung Fu Panda. You'd realize who the real victim was all along. Like when you watch it again with an open mind, you realize that Tai Lung was the victim. Shifu wasn't a hero. Ukwe wasn't a hero. Tai Lung had every right to feel the way that he felt because of how he was treated. There are some people that we hate in this world, but we don't realize that they are exactly how they should be, having experienced life the way that they have experienced life. Sometimes we turn people into villains and we hate them for being villains, and realize that they didn't have a choice. It's like we wanted them to suffer and pretend as if they're not suffering. We wanted to make them angry, but wanted them to pretend as if they're not angry. Once they show us that they're angry, like, yeah, you evil. You're like, but you were treating this person horribly. Like, what did you expect? You expected this person to be calm, to be okay, while you were not treating them well. Some people that we think are strong because we always see them smiling, and they're not. Life was just like, you have to understand that this world is not treating everyone the same, right? that is the truth. Life is not treating everyone the same. Whether we like to admit that to ourselves or not, it's the truth. So some people are happy because life didn't treat them that badly. You might say, oh, they've experienced a lot. This person has lost their parents when they were young. You find that didn't really affect them that much. Maybe they didn't connect. Maybe they didn't really know their parents. They were still young. They didn't connect with their parents. Like, things that happen do not always affect us the same way, A person can lose their child and not really look at it as a big deal, but everyone else is like, wow, what happened to this person? It's so horrible. And you find that they're handling it well, but then maybe something else happened to them that you don't feel is a big deal, and that totally fucks them up. I think the ability to be honest is a very rare ability in our society. When I'm on TikTok watching videos, people having opinions about things, I realize that that's rare. Like, people do not know how to be honest. And you're like, damn. If you can teach yourself to be honest without being biased, I do think you will have enough awareness to actually choose what is right for you all the time. Meaning that no matter where we go, when we die, if you don't forget what you know now, you will still be able to make the right decisions, because you will be thinking, you will be seeing truth because you are thinking as honestly as you can. A lot of people are not like that, bruh. A lot of people just believe what they were programmed to believe, and that's it. You could talk to remember what I said on one of the videos that I published recently? I said, if we didn't have proof that 1 + 1 is 2, we will have people debating if 1 + 1 is really 2. There will be some people that you think are intelligent who will be saying, no, 1 + 1 is not, but we are lucky because we can prove that 1 + 1 is 2. I'm holding 2 objects. 1 and 1, that's 2. We can prove that. If we couldn't, people will be debating if it is really true that 1 + 1 is 2. That's why we don't agree on anything as a society. We can't even agree if the earth is flat, if it's round. I mean, okay, maybe we shouldn't be sure if the earth is flat or round. But we can't even agree on the most basic things that are knowable now. Things that are actually known, things that people can know. We don't even agree on these things. Like, everyone is living in their own world. The problem is that we want to take things from our own worlds into other people's worlds and then force them to be like us, or force them to embrace our world, instead of realizing that we come from different worlds, The things that we deal with as conscious beings are too much for people who didn't ask to be here. If we asked to be here, I would understand. I'll be like, yeah, we all remember why we asked to be here. We all know what we're doing here. Could. Everyone will be focusing on accomplishing their mission. But now we're just existing, trying to avoid suffering. We're not even trying to do anything important. There's some people who think they're doing something important, like, yeah, I'm fighting for something. But we don't really change the world. We don't really make the world better. So us believing that we're fighting for something is just us trying to cope, Like, hey, I gotta do something, but you find that we're not really accomplishing anything. When people who think like us tell us that we're doing something great, we feel good, and that's it. We want to feel good. We're tired of feeling helpless. This is in the kind of world that if a person is thinking as honestly as possible, would want to bring an innocent being into. Like, it goes against logic to do that. There is a lot that we go through. Like, once you are born as a human and you start to desire things, you know what you want, you know what you don't want. Nature will torture you if you don't do what it wants you to do. If you are not the most ideal human, nature will torture you. It's really survival of the fittest, and nature is brutal. Nature is uncaring. Nature is cold. There's this series that I watched. It's called Invisible. There's this aliens that look exactly like humans. They're called Viltrumites. Very, very powerful. They can fly. They can do things that human beings cannot do, and no human, like real human, will be able to analyze a Viltrumite. In their home planet, like the planets dominate the world. In their home planet, when they have offspring, this offspring will have to battle it out, and the strongest will survive. And those are the ones that actually become Viltrumite soldiers that actually go to other planets and try to conquer this planet. When you're watching it, you're like, but they're wrong. Of course, that's how you feel. But nature does that too. It's survival of the fittest. If you're not the most handsome guy, well, you know what I mean? You're going to have a hard time with females. It means that you're not going to get your survival needs met because there is something that is weak about you, right? Survival of the fittest. If you're not good looking as a female, same thing. Okay, as a male, if you somehow find a way to become powerful, even if you're not attractive, you'd have a good time. Why? Because power is strength, right? It's not a weakness. Having power is actually, you know what I mean? Survival of the fittest. If you're physically weak and maybe there's a disease that can make you weaker and you die. Survival of the fittest. The ones who are strong will be able to survive. See, that's how nature works. It's brutal, bro. It doesn't care about your feelings. If you're not fit, it doesn't care. Sometimes as humans, we try to make things better. Like, okay, we can see that this person is not strong, but let's take care of them because. And I think there's a reason why we are like that. Like, there's a part of us, not even like it's the part of us that actually makes us want to help people. I don't think it actually a part of us that belongs in this realm, that belongs in this matrix. I think there's a part of us that belongs somewhere else. It's like we want things to be better. Like, there's this feeling of wanting things to be better, and that feeling will always exist no matter where we find ourselves. It's like, no, things cannot be that messed up. We can't just let this person die just because nature, doesn't care. Like, let's try to help this person survive. Let's help this person. This person is left behind. They need our help. Let's help them. But when it comes to sex, that's when you see how brutal nature is. The way that we select our partners, we'll see how brutal. Like, no one is going to love a person just because they are lonely and they have no one. It doesn't work that way. You realize that nature itself is brutal. So we live in a realm where it's not really about us. It's not really about our needs. You see, nature didn't make things in a way that will make it easy for people to survive, even if they cannot benefit nature in ways that it wants to be benefited. We are in a self-saving matrix. It knows what it wants. It knows what's fit. Like, yeah, this is fit. Yeah, that tall guy, the guy is fit. That girl with big hips and big breast, yeah, that girl is fit. So all the men must want her. And then there's this girl. She's doing everything right. She's been doing everything right. She knows how to love a man. She knows how to take care of a man. But no man really loves her. They just use her. They want that lady, even that lady with big hips and big breasts, even if she doesn't want them. You see, men will work their asses off to get them women who don't even want them. If that happens, you find that a man, grows up admiring certain type of women, and they're not even looking his way. Like, they don't care at all. They don't care. And then he works hard because he's in pain, right? He's not getting what he wants. And then, boom, he starts to make money. And then he abandons the women who were there for him. He doesn't take this woman. I remember there's this video that I watched from John Claude Van Damme. We grew up watching this nigga. He was talking about his wife, the lady that he had the first kid with. He was like, this woman was with me from the beginning. I was broke. I used to steal. She loved me from the beginning. But when I started making money, I left her. When I went to Hollywood, I forgot about her. Then now that things ain't, but I think he still had money. But there was a time when he was big, bro. Like, at some point, he was like the most famous actor. Like, serious. Like, where I live, you couldn't ask. Like, we know a lot of. I think kids know a lot of actors, man. But they didn't know. They don't know these actors the way that we know. Like, we knew Jean-Claude Van Damme when we were young. Like, we always watched these movies. Like, everyone where I live, everyone in South Africa. There's some actors that kids don't know. But Jean-Claude Van Damme, every kid knew him. Like, you couldn't ask a kid when I was growing up about Jean-Claude Van Damme and they will not, give you the name of these movies. Like, we were big fans of that guy. But now, kids that are growing up now, they don't even know this guy. Why? Because he's no longer relevant. So now that he's no longer relevant, he goes back. At least he still got some money. But then he realizes, it's like the prodigal son thing, he realizes what's real. What he had was real. Yes, he's had sex with this, NPC women, but what he had was real in the beginning. Like, that lady that didn't leave him, even though he didn't have much. That's the lady that actually, this reminds me of, and what I'm liking about this world now is that we're starting to see things as they really are. This reminds me of the movie, what is it called? Spider-Man. People are realizing that chick that Spider-Man wanted is a Jane. Some people are realizing that, no, she didn't really love Peter Parker. She loved Spider-Man. She loved him when he was wearing that mask and doing crazy things, that's when she loved him. But as Peter Parker, she wasn't into him. But there was this other lady that loved Peter Parker. Peter Parker didn't even look his way. Her way. Like, he didn't care. She would do things for him, knock at his door, ask, hey, did you eat? This and that. You could see. And when we were young, we didn't really see how good she was. Like, she was good. She was a good person. She was the right person for him. We didn't see that because we're still kids. We're programmed to feel like that Jane chick was the right one. But now we are realizing that no, that chick, she was the one who was good for him. Like, I like the fact that we are now starting to see things as they are. Like, that's actually beautiful. You watch The Matrix and you look at Agent Smith as a villain, but the more you watch it, the more you're like, dude, he was the one. He was smarter than Neo. He wanted to be free, really wanted to be free. It wasn't easy to manipulate. Neo just seemed to believe in it. Like, the Oracle manipulated Neo. it didn't really seem, and he was on his feelings. You know, I mean, he chose to save Trinity, even though he could have saved everyone. Like, he made that choice. It's, you know what I mean? Like, we might say, oh, that's a good thing, you know, he tried to fight for what he loves, but it's just chemical reactions in the brain, really. You know, the people that you love now might end up not being the people that you love 10 years later. It's just chemicals, reactions in the brain, and you try to create stories, try to justify loving a person. I'm not saying we shouldn't love, you know. I just wish people can be more rational in relationships, and if they decide to love each other, they are able to see the truth and be able to be fair to each other, like have good relationships than relationships that are controlled by feelings all the time. I think that's where things get messed up, you know. You know, you could be dating a woman, you know, she's in love with you, you guys are having a great relationship, and then she finds someone else. You find that you are a good guy. Now she doesn't even talk to you anymore. She blocked you completely as if you've done something very horrible. She's not mad at you. She just doesn't want you anymore. She's surprised why she was with you, because now she loves someone else. It's like, it sucks that we can know people. I mean, that doesn't, I'm not speaking from personal experience, by the way. I've been blocked. No, have I ever really been blocked? Nah, not really. Not really blocked. But I have lost people that I love and that I knew, you know, it was gonna be hard for me to get them back if there was a chance that I would get them back. And they would be mean, you know, and you realize that, yeah, the love is gone, and when the love is gone, people tend to hate each other. You know, it's just like love is madness, basically. It's like they tolerate each other because they love each other, but when the love is gone, it's like, no, you ain't that great. You ain't a good person. We need to open our eyes to the truth about everything, the truth about this realm. The lies that we're telling ourselves are what's truly causing suffering. If I tell myself that life is a gift, and when I have a child, yeah, I would have given them a gift, and they should love the gift no matter what they go through, no matter how I treat them. In fact, they owe me something. Like, no, I'm lying to myself. That is not true. But if I decided that I'm having a kid and I know that this realm is really messed up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm having a kid, and it's unfair for the kid, because what if the kid doesn't like it here? But, well, I do have the power to do that, to cause someone to exist in this room, so I'm doing it. But I'm aware that they didn't consent to being born here, so at least I must treat them well. You know, it's like if I brought someone who lived in another country, you know, I kept enforcing them to come and live in South Africa with me, and that person didn't initially agree. Like, maybe I had to convince them. I have to treat them as if I invited them here. You know what I mean? It's not like they wanted to be here, you know. I invited them, so I must treat them well. I mean, imagine as soon as they get here, I'm like, yeah, you need a job now. You need a job. You know, yeah, nah, you can't survive without a job. And don't be shocked. Like, hey, this person kept on inviting me so that, you know, I would get a job here and work and all, you know what I mean? It's like, nah. Like, yeah, there's no food. You gotta find your own food. Like, there's no intellectual honesty. So if we can't even be honest about the fact that people didn't choose to be here, they didn't choose their parents, they didn't choose their experiences, you know, Everyone wants to have a good life. We're all fighting to have a good life, you know. But life is not treating everyone the same. Some people are lucky, you know, some people are highly favored, but some people are not highly favored. And those who are highly favored, it doesn't mean that they must now think that this is all good, you know. Can you imagine? I've given you this example before. Let's say my father, he has many children, but he's treating me so well. He doesn't care about his other children. But me, whatever I want, he buys me. And they can see that. Like, should I really be happy? I mean, he didn't only bring me in this realm, he also brought some people that need him. So should I just be like, yo, my father is a good person just because he's treating me well? What about those that he's not treating well? You see, and we do make this mistake of thinking that someone is good because they are being good to us, while they're actually horrible. But they're just good to us. Maybe they like us. Maybe there's something that they're benefiting from us, so they're good to us. But what happens if they stop liking us? And what about the people that they're not treating well? You don't say someone is good because they're treating you well, even if you can see that there are people that they are not treating well. And you see that those people do not deserve to not be treated well. So we need to be honest with ourselves and stop telling ourselves that radical honesty is depression. Because that's what people tell themselves in this realm. Radical honesty is depression. Like, once you start being honest with people, prepared to be judged, you know, that's when people will think that there's something wrong with you. Be like, yeah, I've always knew there was something wrong with this person. You know, I could feel it. But now I see, because you were honest. You actually told them the truth. Like, we're not operating on a level of truth. We're operating on a level of lies, deception, illusions, you know what I mean? Manipulation. We're not operating on a level of truth. So if a person decides to go deeper and try to operate on the level of truth and try to drag everyone to that level, that person got issues. Like, that's when you see people true colors. That's why, to get what you want from people, you just gotta manipulate them. Like, the truth is wicked at the end of the day. People don't even respond to truth. It sucks. Well, that's why once a person decides that they're gonna be honest, people start to think there's something wrong with them. The more honest you are, the more people think there's something wrong with you. But the more lies you tell, the more people, you know, want to be close to you. The more people want to roll with you. The more people love you. That's why I don't look at love as like this positive thing. Because you're loved for the wrong reasons, is it? You're loved for knowing how to manipulate. Like, you want to be good with women, be manipulative, you'll be alright. I'm not lying to you. Like, seriously, be manipulative. Don't be real. Don't have real deep conversations with them. Don't be honest. Don't be this honest person. Like, dude, you're going to have a great time with women. But I think it's the same thing with men. I haven't really looked at it that way from the perspective of women who are real. But maybe it's the same. Like, as a woman, if you are real, you know, honest with your man, having real, you're not manipulative and all. Maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. But what works in this realm is, you know, people manipulating one another, lying to one another, people, you know, being strategic in relationships other than being real. Like, when people are real, you know, the world tends to reject them. It sucks, but that's the reality of our situation here as conscious beings. That's why I was telling y'all that everything is upside down. Some people might think that, no, I'm honest, actually, and things are working out for me, but they don't realize that they are trapped in a delusion and they think they're being honest. It's like, nah, you allowed other people to tell you lies and you believe these lies, so you live in a delusion. But you thinking that you are honest while you're not honest, is it? truth is wicked. It's scary that existence was possible and we can suffer, right? I remember there's this interview that I watched between Lex Friedman and dude, I forgot this guy's name. He wrote a book about free will. He's very famous, very famous philosopher. I don't know why I don't remember his name. He even debated with David Bennett, so debated with Jordan Peterson. He makes a lot of sense. I like him. He makes a lot of, I like people who make sense. I don't like people who lie to themselves. I like people who are intellectually honest. It's you have to be so honest that you don't care if your honesty is working for you. Even if it's not working for you, it's good. So yeah, this guy spoke about artificial intelligence, and he was like, what if we created what if artificial intelligence became sentient and it started to suffer? Will that be a positive thing? And I think both him and Lex Friedman agree that it wouldn't be a positive thing. And I was like, but that's life. That's humans. That's sentient beings in this realm. It's literally the same thing. Like, what's crazy about humans is that they are able to see the truth when they are thinking outside the box. Have you realized that? Like, if you create a situation that's very similar to what we're going through in this world, right? But the people who are looking at that situation that are not part of it, they'll be able to see all the things that are messed up about this realm. They will be able to point to the things that are actually messed up about this realm, not even realizing that the things that they are able to see that are messed up are the things that they're actually going through without realizing that these things are messed up. When we watch, sometimes there's this guy. I would watch these videos from. I forgot the name of this guy, who would draw, like he'll make cartoons about what's going on in this realm. This, and you tell that it's literally the same thing that we're going through, and people will be able to see. Like he would maybe draw a picture of many rats trying to enter a train, and you could see that there's no space. You feel sad, but when you are in that situation, even though you might not like it, you're like, I wish I had money so that I could use a taxi, or maybe buy my own car because this sucks. But you don't really see how sad it is. You just feel like, I just gotta hustle, make money for my family or make money for myself. But you don't really see how sad it is until you step outside the box and be like, what the fuck? This is the reality of this realm. But there's a lot that we are going through as conscious beings that we do not even acknowledge, because we are still in the box. We haven't stepped outside the box yet. I think a lot of people do not realize the amount of intellectual honesty required to really understand this realm or the reality of our situation. To understand what can be understood based on what we know now, or what we have seen, not even what we know. We can't really know anything, but there are things we have seen. What is the most logical conclusion to make, having seen what we have seen now? Intellectual honesty, like radical honesty, actually is required. If you still have attachments to things. It's not easy to be honest. You see, if you're a man and you don't like women, like for example, let's say you are a black pillar, and you just think, women. You just think women are just cold, and I mean, people are cold, but you could watch a video from a guy who believes in black pill, and you see that there's something that's like, yeah, and they are right, but not completely right. Like, there's some things that they don't get. Like, unless you're willing to give that up and be like, I just want to be a human and try to understand what is really going on, like, you won't be able to see the whole truth. You see? That is why there have been people who were racist in the past, who hated some group of people because they were telling themselves stories in their head, and they kept on seeing the evidence of what they were telling themselves, but they couldn't see the reality that those people that they were judging were experiencing. It's like if you live in America, or you're white, you didn't grow up in the projects, like you went to a good school, and then you make it, and then now there's this person who grew up in the gutter where they didn't eat cereal for breakfast. They had to try to find food. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're hungry. The mom, the mother is on drug, the father is in prison. They wake up in the morning, there's no food. What do? Go out. I want food, and then this guy takes advantage of them, like, hey, go and sell this for me. I'm going to give you something. And then they grow up in that environment. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't experience what they experienced, but you judge them. Hey, this person is horrible, this and that. But you didn't experience life from their perspective. So you don't like, yes, you might be right when you say they're horrible, but you don't understand how they became horrible. You see? So if you want things to change, then try to fix these places that they grow up in. You could say, hey, they want things to be that way, but you might find that there are some of them who do not want things to be that way, but it's the people who are in power in this kind of places. They want things to be that way, and everyone has to comply, because if they don't, they might end up being unalived. There are a lot of things that we do in this realm that we don't actually want to do, but we don't really feel like we have a choice. We feel like we have to comply. A lot of people don't know the amount of honesty that's actually required to see things as they are. People are delusional. It's so damn scary. That's why some of us don't really want to convince people what we believe. Some of us just want to keep growing, keep on seeing things as they are and making the right decisions, as we find ways to set ourselves free, as we find ways to detach ourselves. The lies that we're telling ourselves ain't helping. The lies that we're telling ourselves are making things worse. The lies that we're being told that we believe are making things worse. People need to learn how to think for themselves. But it seems like not every person can. Not every person can. The same way that some people cannot solve math problems in their heads, like maybe they will need a calculator. Some kids that can solve math problems, and you don't understand how the kid is able to do that. You're much older than that kid. You're 40. You're supposed to be smarter than that kid. The kid is like 5 or 6, but they're able to solve math problems. Yes, some people cannot think. You might have been able to think while you were like 7, and your parents were like 40, and they couldn't think as rationally as you were able to. Yes, because they can, but you can. And that's a good thing. Don't look at that as a negative thing. The fact that you can think rationally, don't look at that as a negative thing. It's a positive thing. That's what's gonna allow you to set yourself free. Thank you, guys.